I hear this phrase often. We don't need senior living. We'll just hire more care. It sounds reasonable. It sounds loving. And for a while, it even works. But then something happens. Care hours increase, costs quietly double, schedules become impossible, caregivers quit, and suddenly the family is in crisis again. Today, I want to talk about the myth of we'll just hire more care, why in-home care eventually breaks down for many families, and how to recognize when a plan that once worked is no longer sustainable. This isn't about shaming families, it's about telling the truth before exhaustion, safety issues, and emergencies force the decision for you. Hi, I'm Corpus, a Senior Transition Specialist and Seniors Real Estate Expert based in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm also part of the sandwich generation, helping families navigate senior care decisions while balancing careers, finances, and family dynamics. This is another episode of Sandwich Generation Solutions, powered by the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast, where we talk honestly about what works, what breaks down, and how to plan before a crisis takes over. Let's dive in. The idea of just hiring more care usually comes from good intentions. Families want to avoid a move, to honor a promise, to preserve independence, and to reduce guilt. And early on, in-home care can be the right solution. A few hours a day, help with meals, medication reminders, light housekeeping. At this stage, in-home care feels manageable. But here's the problem. Families assume they can scale in-home care indefinitely, and that's where the myth begins. Care needs don't increase in a straight line. They jump. A fall, a hospitalization, a cognitive shift, a new diagnosis. Suddenly, care goes from 4 hours a day to 12 hours to 24-hour coverage. And here's what families don't realize. In-home care is not designed to function like a staff facility. It relies on multiple caregivers, rotating schedules, agency availability, and family coordination. That system is fragile. Let's talk about staffing. This is one of the biggest breaking points. When families need 24-hour care, they assume an agency will handle it. But in reality, caregivers call out, agencies struggle with staffing shortages, consistency disappears, and families become backup coverage. I've seen families in Contra Costa, Alameda, and Santa Clara counties where adult children were covering overnight shifts, sleeping with baby monitors, canceling work trips, and burned out but afraid to admit it. At that point, it's no longer in-home care. It's family-managed medical logistics. Let's talk numbers because this surprises almost everyone. In the Bay Area, 8 to 10 hours a day of care can rival assisted living. 24-hour care often exceeds memory care costs. Rates increase annually. Weekend and overnight premiums add up fast. Families often say, we thought senior living would be more expensive. But when we actually compare care hours, turnover, burnout, and safety risks, they realize they're paying more money for less support. Even excellent caregivers can't eliminate certain risks. Homes weren't designed for dementia progression. Wandering, nighttime confusion, falls when caregivers step away, and medication errors during night changes. I've seen situations where caregivers were present but not trained for behaviors. One missed moment led to hospitalization, and families blamed themselves afterward. In-home care supports tasks. It struggles with the round-the-clock supervision and structure. Here's something families rarely consider. Many seniors feel uncomfortable with constant in-home care. They feel watched, intruded on, like they've lost privacy, and like their home is no longer theirs. I've had seniors say, I feel like a guest in my own house. That emotional strain matters, especially as cognitive decline increases. One important thing to note is when the plan breaks, it breaks fast. This is the hardest part. When in-home care collapses, it rarely collapses gently. It collapses because a caregiver quits, a fall happens, A hospital discharge comes with new needs, and the family simply can't do it anymore. And suddenly, choices are limited, availability is scarce, decisions are rushed, and guilt skyrockets. That's when families say, I wish we'd planned this sooner. Here's the truth, and it's important to say it with compassion. In-home care is often a bridge, not a forever solution, and that's okay. The problem isn't choosing in-home care. The problem is believing it will never need to change. Planning for the next step before the breakdown is an act of love, not failure. So how do you know when the myth is cracking? Here are some signs the plan is breaking down. Care hours are increasing every few months. Family members are filling gaps. Costs are outpacing alternatives. Safety incidents are increasing. Everyone's exhausted, and you're afraid to ask what's next. If you're seeing 2 or more of these, it's time to reassess. Not panic, not rush, reassess. Instead of asking how much more care can we add, ask, what level of structure does my parent now need? What environment supports safety and dignity? What system is sustainable for the family, and what plan works before crisis forces it? That shift changes everything. So to recap, today we covered why we'll just hire more care sounds good, but often breaks down. The staffing, cost, and safety realities families underestimate. The emotional toll on both families and seniors. How to recognize when in-home care is no longer sustainable, and why planning ahead preserves dignity and choice. In-home care isn't wrong, but pretending it will always work no matter what is the myth that hurts families the most. This has been another episode of Sandwich Generation Solutions powered by the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast. If your family is relying heavily on in-home care and you're starting to wonder what happens next, I can help you think through the options before burnout or crisis takes over. Book a free consultation and learn more about my services at www.simplifyseniortransitions.com. You can also watch and listen to the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And if this episode was helpful, leaving a review really does matter. It helps more families find the show when they need it the most. I'm Dale Corpus, and I'll see you on the next episode.